Hello and welcome to Indus News live from Islamabad. I am Mehbooba with the news of this hour. Let's begin with the top stories first. Azad Jammu and Kashmir president says India is planning to strike Pakistan to divert world's attention from its crimes in occupied Kashmir. Sardar Masood Khan said, having been rebuffed by China, India is now planning to commit aggression against Pakistan. In a series of tweets, he urged the United Nations Security Council to take notice of Indian attack on a UN vehicle along the line of control. In India, farmers are observing an indefinite relay hunger strike in protest against controversial agriculture laws. They have also decided to halt toll collection on highways in Haryana from December 25 to 27. In Nepal, the resolution of parliament and announcement of elections have been challenged in the country's top court. Seeking legal stay, the petitioners denounced the move as a constitutional coup. The petitioners said the Prime Minister has no prerogative to dissolve parliament under the constitution. United States President Donald Trump's campaign says it has again asked Supreme Court to overturn election results. In a statement, Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani said the campaign filed a petition seeking reversal of 3 rulings by Pennsylvania State Court. Trump's campaign and its allies have now filed roughly 50 lawsuits alleging widespread voting fraud. Several countries have banned travel to the United Kingdom after the detection of a new strain of coronavirus. Meanwhile, the US's COVID-19 death toll has topped 317,000 with more than 17.8 million infections. Pakistan has registered nearly 1,800 new cases and 62 fatalities overnight as its death toll is nearing 9,400. Global death tally from the virus is approaching 1.7 million, while the infections toll has exceeded 76.7 million. And in football, Real Madrid have defeated Eibar 3-1, recording their 4th consecutive league win. Karim Benzema kept up his impressive run of form by scoring his 7th league goal and 2 assists to secure Real's win. The win moves Real to 2nd place in the Spanish league to level with leaders Atletico Madrid on 29 points. These were the headlines. News in detail after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back. Now let's have the news in detail. Azad Jammu and Kashmir president says India is planning to strike Pakistan to divert world's attention from its crimes in occupied Kashmir. Sardar Masood Khan said, having been rebuffed by China, India is now planning to commit aggression against Pakistan. In a series of tweets, the Azad Jammu and Kashmir president said the United Nations Security Council should warn India as its aggression would not be tolerated. He maintained that no power should give a green signal to aggression. Khan also urged the UN Security Council to take notice of Indian attack on a UN vehicle along the line of control. He said the United Nations observer forces have no freedom to move in the occupied territory. The president went on to say that India stages such attacks to play up to its redundancy. The president pointed out that in 2020 alone, India has committed more than 3,000 ceasefire violations. Now, a European Union-based human rights activist has called for a lawsuit against the Indian government over its fake news network. Vermouth said the EU Disinfo Lab's revelations cause enormous damage to Pakistan, China, European Union, UN and the Indian minorities. The Indian government should be held accountable for its fake campaign. He said such campaigns depict India's jealousy over Pakistan's sea pact as it wants to isolate Pakistan with propaganda. He stressed the need for disinfecting the internet and large-scale investigations into the issue. Now, former Chief Minister of Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, Mehbooba Mufti, has slammed the detention of her party leaders. In a tweet, she said Sartaj Madani and Mansoor Hussain of the People's Democratic Party have been arbitrarily imprisoned. She said they were detained on the eve of the results of the Maidan District Development Council elections in the valley. Mufti dubbed it as sheer lawlessness, and she said the police were clueless as the orders came from above. Now in India, farmers are observing an indefinite relay hunger strike in protest against the controversial agricultural laws. A protest leader says 11 people will fast for each day in the strike. The protesters have also decided to hold toll collection on highways in Haryana from December 25 to 27th. Now, after many rounds of failed negotiations, the government has once again approached the protesting farmers. The Agricultural Ministry Secretary has written a letter to farmer leaders asking them to choose a date for the next round of talks. Despite government assurances, the stir has been intensifying as farmers want the laws repealed. Moving to Nepal, where the dissolution of parliament and announcement of new elections have been challenged in the country's top court. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli's termination of parliament raises the prospect of months of political turmoil amid the pandemic. A Supreme Court spokesperson said 3 petitions were in the process of being registered. Seeking legal stay, the petitioners denounced the move as a constitutional coup. They said the Prime Minister has no prerogative to dissolve parliament. Experts say if the court registers the petitions, it could take about 2 weeks for a decision. The President set April 30th and May 10th as dates for the general elections, more than a year ahead of schedule on the advice of Oli's cabinet. Now, the US is prepared to react if Iran launches an attack to mark the first anniversary of the killing of Iranian General Qasem Soleimani. Commander of the US Central Command, General Kenneth McKenzie, said this in a statement. He said the US is well prepared to defend itself and its friends and partners in the region. McKenzie added he has recently visited Iraq and Syria to meet with American officers and troops deployed in the countries. McKenzie is touring the Middle East region weeks before the anniversary of Soleimani's killing by a US drone strike in Iraq. Moving on now, in the US, President Donald Trump's campaign has again asked the Supreme Court to overturn election results. In a statement, Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani said the campaign sought a reversal of 3 rulings by Pennsylvania State Court.
Rudy Giuliani said the filing also sought an order allowing Pennsylvania's legislature to declare Trump the winner. The Trump campaign and its allies have now filed roughly 50 lawsuits alleging widespread voting fraud. The latest long-shot effort comes just weeks before the Congress counts electoral votes on January 6th. Meanwhile, in a turbulent White House meeting, the U.S. president discussed new ways to overturn Biden's victory. Several media reports highlighted that the meeting considered the deployment of military and seizing election machines. In a tweet, Trump denied media reports of martial law as fake news. Senior military officials have ruled out any involvement in efforts to overturn the election results.
Now, U.S. lawmakers have called for a strong response to massive cyber attacks on government agencies. The Republicans and Democrats criticized President Donald Trump for downplaying the hack. In an interview, Republican Senator Mitt Romney said Russia acted with impunity, calling the attacks extraordinarily dangerous. Romney said Trump has a blind spot about Moscow. Top Democrat Mark Warner said Russia came away with a big haul. He said the government was still assessing the damage. Trump has hinted at China's involvement in the breach without offering evidence. Joe Biden's incoming chief of staff, Ron Klain, has vowed that those responsible will face consequences. Now, Beijing says it firmly opposes the U.S. bill aimed to kick Chinese companies off its stock exchanges. In a press briefing, Foreign Ministry spokesman said the bill contains discriminatory provisions against the Chinese firms. Wang Wenbin termed the move unjustified political crackdown on Beijing's enterprises listed in the United States. He said the legislation would distort the basic market economy rules Washington always touted. Signed by a U.S. president on Friday, the bill requires Chinese companies to adhere to American auditing standards. A Chinese aircraft carrier group is on its way to the South China Sea to hold drills in the disputed area. The Navy of the People's Liberation Army said the group is led by Beijing's newest carrier, the Shandong. It said the ships have smoothly passed through the sensitive and narrow Taiwan Strait. The Navy added the drills are part of normal arrangements made following annual plans. It said the Navy will continue to organize similar operations based on training needs in the future. The Shandong carried group sailed through the Taiwan Strait just a day after U.S. warship transited the waterways. Meanwhile, Taiwan said it sent 6 warships and 8 aircraft to monitor the Shandong, which is accompanied by 4 warships. Moving on, Japanese government has approved a 9th consecutive rise in the country's military spending. The Ministry of Defense is set to get a record-high budget of $51.7 billion for the year starting in April. Up by 1.1% from this year, the budget will fund the development of an advanced stealth fighter and long-range anti-ship missile. The planned jet fighter is expected to cost around $40 billion and be ready in 2030. Tokyo will spend $323 million to begin the development of a long-range anti-ship missile. The enactment of the budget is certain as Prime Minister Suga enjoys a large majority in the parliament. Suga is continuing the controversial military expansion pursued by his predecessor Shinzo Abe. Several countries have banned travel to the United Kingdom after the detection of a new strain of coronavirus. Meanwhile, the US has surpassed 317,000 COVID-19 deaths with over 17.8 million cases. Globally, there are nearly 1.7 million deaths and 76 million infections. More on coronavirus in this report.
The mutated strain of coronavirus found in southern England has caused frenzy all over the world. It has also been detected in the Netherlands, Denmark and Australia. The World Health Organization says it is in close contact with UK officials over the emergence of a new variant which could be up to 70% more transmissible. Meanwhile, scientists at U.S. Walter Reed Army Institute of Research are working to find out if it responds to vaccines. However, German officials claim the Pfizer-BioNTech vaccine will be effective against the new strain. Amid travel bans to the UK, world leaders are setting up guidelines for their citizens stranded in London.
The situation at the moment is quiet. At this moment, upstairs the doctors are taking swabs from the people on the flight arriving from England. As you know, there are new measures of the Italian Health Ministry, and those who have stayed in the last 14 days in Britain must report it to the relevant territorial health services.
Saudi Arabia has temporarily suspended all international passenger flights for a week over fears about the fast-spreading new variant. Meanwhile, over in the Americas, Chile is set to start deploying the Pfizer vaccine as early as next week. U.S. General Gustave Perna, who is in charge of distributing the vaccines, has conceded failure to deliver the initial number of doses promised to states. Meanwhile, congressional leaders have announced an agreement on a $900 billion relief package.
More help is on the way. Moments ago, in consultation with our committees, the 4 leaders of the Senate and the House finalized an agreement. There will be another major rescue package for the American people. As our citizens continue battling this coronavirus this holiday season, they will not be fighting alone. We've agreed to a package of nearly $900 billion. It is packed with targeted policies that help struggling Americans who've already waited entirely too long.
Over in Asia, South Korea recorded its first highest daily death toll from the coronavirus within 24 hours additional fatalities. India reported over 24,000 new cases and 333 new fatalities as its death toll topped 1.4 million. Thailand has begun testing tens of thousands of people following the country's worst outbreak yet.
Now, in Pakistan, 62 people have lost their lives to COVID-19 over the past 24 hours. This takes the country's death toll to over 9,392. Health officials reported 1,792 new infections overnight. Meanwhile, more than 40,000 active COVID-19 cases have been detected in the country. The Health Ministry says out of over 458,000 countrywide cases, more than 409,000 people have recovered. The ministry said over 204,000 cases have been detected in the Sindh province. The Punjab province has reported nearly 131,000 cases so far. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi says Abu Dhabi will never twist relations with Islamabad on behest of the Indian regime. In an interview, the Foreign Minister said Pakistan has excellent ties with the UAE and other countries in the region. He added Pakistan holds a unique importance with Arab countries. He said there is a temporary visa hold which would be addressed after the normalization of the pandemic. More news coming up in this bulletin after a short break. Stay with us. Welcome back now. Moving on with the news stories. In Ethiopia, 3 people have been killed and 5 others wounded after an abandoned bomb exploded in the capital, Addis Ababa. Police said the explosion in the Lideta area killed homeless people. Police said a probe is underway and the public will be informed once it is completed. This follows a recently ended conflict between federal forces and regional government in the northern Tigray region. But there has been no indication that the explosion is anyhow linked to the crisis in the Tigray. Police have blamed the TPLF in several previous cases. Now moving to Nigeria, where police in the northwestern Katsina state has foiled an abduction attempt after a fierce gun battle. Dozens of gunmen had kidnapped more than 80 Islamic school students. Katsina police said they rescued the children in collaboration with a local self-defense group. They said the team succeeded in dislodging the bandits and rescued all 84 kidnapped victims. Police said search teams are still combing the area to arrest the injured bandits or recover their dead bodies. Now, this comes 2 days after the release of 344 schoolboys who were kidnapped in the same area on December 11th. Now, 2 of the biggest planets of the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, will form conjunction in the sky tonight. This will be the closest the planets have been since 1623. The planets will appear to be aligned so closely they will almost seem to be one single star in the sky. In a statement, NASA said this vibrant planetary conjunction will be easily visible. The next time we get another chance like this will be on the 24th August 2414. Jupiter and Saturn are in conjunction when they have the same right ascension or celestial longitude. This astronomical event is named as a great conjunction. Pop star and creator of Pakistan's popular cartoon Burqa Avenger, Haroon is tackling racism with a new song. Details in this report.
I suffered through ages and suffered in silence. I offered brotherhood and offered non-violence, but you...
Last summer, the Black Lives Matter movement in the US sent ripples through the world. Here in Pakistan, a pop star has launched a song inspired by the movement.
Just let me breathe, breathe, breathe. All I need is to breathe, breathe, breathe.
Haroon, who uses a masked alter ego Freddy Fiction, released Just Let Me Breathe on December 17 on YouTube. It garnered more than 200,000 views on the first day.
Freddy Fiction is a new project of mine, an alter ego of sorts, and the goal of Freddy Fiction is to write pop songs with social messages, make videos and songs that can have a positive impact. And for me, it's not about entertainment for entertainment's sake.
According to a statement from the producers, the song was inspired by the death of George Floyd, an African-American man who was killed during an arrest in Minneapolis after a white police officer knelt on Floyd's neck.
BLM activism is mainly in the US. However, racism and the BLM movement is a global concern. It is a global issue. And it's so important for everybody to participate, everybody to get involved, to raise your voice against racism in support of BLM. And it doesn't matter where you're from.
Harun's animated TV series Burqa Avenger has also been aired in Afghanistan, India and Indonesia and dubbed in various languages. Through his creation, he seeks to emphasize the importance of girls' education and equality in Pakistan.
Now in Taiwan, a high fashion designer is leveraging the power industry to design her clothes. The designer employs uncycled wires and bolts to decorate her dresses. More in this report.
Inspiration for high fashion can come from strange places. For one Taiwanese designer, it stems from upcycled old wires and bolts from the power industry. 36-year-old Wong Liling picks up discarded bits of metals and wires from Taiwan's main electricity supplier to add flair to her clothes.
We thought
that if we cut up these old cables, which have these thin iron wires inside, we could roll them into a shape that we could use. And then we found something, such as this one.
The wires and other materials stitched onto dresses give them a futuristic feeling. The dresses were exhibited at a fashion show in Taipei, where they drew a warm reception.
Putting old fabric and material and merge it into new designs. Everyone knows that the fashion industry is fast fashion. It is very wasteful. So how do we recreate new things with the old and using creative ideas to present them? I am very much in awe today.
Taiwan put a Taipei Fashion Week in October featuring live shows, which is a testament to the island's successful efforts to control the spread of the COVID-19.
Well, now, as the coronavirus pandemic has made people more aware about hygiene, a Japanese startup company has set up hand and smartphones washing stations in the streets of Tokyo to emphasize on better hygiene. This report has more details.
Shoppers wash their hands and sterilize their smartphones in the streets of Tokyo's Posh Ginza district as Water Corp set up 20 of its wash machines near the Posh Ginza stores to prevent the spread of coronavirus. The initiative with the district association aims to encourage shoppers to wash their hands.
To be able to wash your hands wherever you are on the city, we thought we had to realize this as soon as possible amid the impact of COVID-19. So we sped up the development.
The machines don't require connection to running water and don't use fresh and wastewater tanks. Instead, they recycle the water through a 3-stage process of membrane filtration, chlorine and deep ultraviolet irradiation. On average, 20 liters of water provides around 500 washes and the filters should be changed after 2000. The machine also cleans smartphones using 20 to 30 seconds of ultraviolet light exposure. Touching a dirty phone would negate hand wash effort.
I use smartphones all the time, but I was not conscious that I don't sterilize it enough. It was good that this machine reminds me that we have to keep smartphones clean.
Vota has now begun shipments within Japan and aims to expand internationally next year.
Pakistan says new trade markets are being explored to achieve a $26 billion exports target in the next 3 years. Advisor to Prime Minister on Commerce and Investment Abdul Razak Dawood says Africa, North and South America are focal areas. In an interview, Dawood said trade diversification will enhance the economy. He added regional trade through Gwadar will boost connectivity with Central Asian states and Afghanistan. He said the main agenda of the government is to boost exports and create employment opportunities for the youth. Post-Brexit trade talks will resume today after negotiators failed to reach an agreement over the weekend. The European Union's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier and his British counterpart David Frost met in Brussels on Sunday. Barnier wrote on Twitter that talks were in a crucial phase. He said both sides must have the right to control their waters. David McAllister, chairman of the European Parliament's Foreign Affairs Committee, said in a tweet the Parliament will not be able to approve an agreement this year as a deal was not reached by the Sunday deadline. Meanwhile, Scottish First Minister Nicola Sturgeon called on Johnson to seek an extension to the transition period. She tweeted that Britain needs to focus on tackling a new coronavirus strain. Meanwhile, European shares have slumped at the week's opening as the rapid spread of a new strain of the coronavirus led to a travel ban to the UK. The pan-European stocks slid by a whooping 2.3% after UK imposed an effective lockdown. London's FTSE dropped by 2.1%, while the pound sank as well. Meanwhile, Germany's DAX also fell by 2.3%. Earlier, Asian stocks traded mixed, with only the Shanghai Composite Index gaining. Pakistan cricket team's captain Babar Azam will miss the first test match against New Zealand starting on December 26th. Pakistan Cricket Board says the batting mainstay has been ruled out due to a fractured thumb. Sustaining the injury during a practice session last week, Babar was already ruled out of the three-match T20 series. Opening batsman Imamul Haq also fractured his left thumb during a net session. PCB said the medical staff is closely monitoring the progress of both players. Mohammad Rizwan is set to lead the Green Shirts in Babar's absence and would be Pakistan's 33rd Test captain. Now in football, Real Madrid beat Eibar 3-1, recording their fourth consecutive league win. Karim Benzema kept up his impressive run of form with his 7th league goal and 2 assists to secure Real's win. The French forward drove Real into a lead in the 6th minute, calmly netting a chipped pass from Rodrigo. Luka Modric capitalized on the lead in the 13th minute, with Benzema beating the defender and cutting the ball back. A Lucas Vazquez goal in stoppage time sealed the win for Zinedine Zidane's side. The win moves Real to second place in the Spanish league to level with leaders Atletico Madrid on 29 points. Now in skiing, favourite Jonathan Mitchell has won the first round of the Ski Cross World Cup in Val Thorens, France. The race, originally scheduled for Saturday, was moved to Sunday due to bad weather. Mitchell outpaced competitors Canadian Reese Howden and German Florian on the slopes to win. Meanwhile, in the women's contest, top seed Swiss Fanny Smith dominated the race. Smith continued her excellent form, finishing ahead of French Jade Grellet-Aubert and Canadian Marielle Thompson. Following his win, Mitchell said it was a pity his family and fans could not attend the event.
I don't realize. Yeah, it's a crazy day. Just just pity that there is no, my family, all the fan club, my village, all the support we had. It's it's a bit weird, but yeah, I don't know. Still a win, so I'm really, really happy. It's a good day.
And now let's have a look at the weather updates across the globe. And that is all for now. For the latest updates, you can follow us on social media at Indus.news.